CBS's Margaret Brennan not only had on an impressive Republican, but also an impressive Democrat politician in a double interview at the same time. It shocked me, probably like it'll shock you, because both of these guys seemed very formidable, logical, and not that easily moldable and flip-floppable, let's say, like a lot of people in politics. But instead, they seem pretty rooted and grounded in their principles. Even the Republican guy, who's taking a surprising stance that I think a lot of you can agree with. It's Sean Daniel here. Hope you guys enjoy the Sunday marathon. Had a super early wake up for me this morning in New Zealand, 3:30 a.m. my time, so I could film these for you guys. Let's go. Oh my God, that's the outro. I'm not supposed to do this.
Good morning and welcome to Face the Nation. Although we're all trying to put the pain of the shutdown behind us, the 43-day standoff on Capitol Hill exposed and amplified the need to address the rising cost of healthcare premiums. And our CBS News polling out today shows that 2/3 of Americans think their premiums will increase in the coming months. We begin today with two members of the so-called House Problem Solvers Caucus, New York Democrat Tom Suozzi and Nebraska Republican Don Bacon. Good morning. Good to have you here in a bipartisan conversation. You both recognize there's a problem here. Congressman Bacon, let me start with you. 1 out of every $5 in this country that is spent goes to health care. We know these COVID-era tax credit subsidies for Obamacare will go away at the end of the month. That's going to hit about 22 of the 24 million Americans who use that program. What can you do in the next 6 weeks to make costs go down in January?
Well, we need a temporary extension of these tax credits to keep these prices down. Republicans nor Democrats want to see premiums skyrocket, and they will if these expire with nothing in its place. That's why I worked with Tom Suozzi and other Democrats and Republicans to find a compromise. We just want to do a clean extension. Most Republicans don't anyway. So we think there needs to be some caps on income, and we want to ensure all these credits go directly to lowering people's premiums. And right now, about 1/3 of the money doesn't make it to the premiums. So those are some reforms that we would like to see. And if we can get those accomplished, then we can extend these tax credits and keep these, the prices lower. But we do need a longer-term fix. The Affordable Care Act is unaffordable, and I think we need to have this extension to give us time to work on something bigger and deeper, and that will help lower costs overall. But I'm proud to work with Tom Suozzi on this, and I appreciate his partnership.
Congressman Suozzi, I understand this is a 2-year proposed extension of those enhanced premium tax credits and an income cap that phases out for those making between $200,000 to $400,000. When you look at the breakdown, though, that's a pretty small portion of the overall recipients of the tax credits. It's like less than 10%. So what does this accomplish? How does this make it more affordable and fair?
Well, it helps everybody else who makes under $200,000 dramatically. And the number one concern people have in America is affordability, and healthcare affordability is right at the top of the list. So we need to do something to extend these premium tax credits. It'll save people thousands and thousands of dollars, literally $1,000 a month for some people. So it'll be dramatically more affordable. The people who make above $400,000 are the teeny little percentage of people that are not a very small group of people that would benefit from the existing tax credits. Most of the people are below $200,000. That $200,000 to $400,000 is a way to taper it off so there's not a cliff.
First problem with the Democrat guy. Look at his tie. Look how it's leaned off to the left. First problem right there. And I got to give it to Margaret for actually asking a good question. If you're just going to keep extending this thing and you're only going to make a change so that people making over $200,000 can't qualify, how does that improve anything? Margaret's got some good questions so far. Let's see if it keeps going. I doubt it will.
And how much Democratic support do you have for this at this point?
I think the Democrats are going to strongly back the idea of extending premium tax credits so that we can keep people's insurance affordable. So even with these we've got to come up with this compromise. Even with the caps. Yeah, Democrats have always said that they want to direct the policy towards lower and middle income folks people making under $400,000 a year is our bread and butter issues, that we want to try and make things affordable for those folks. And that will be like literally 95%, 99% of the people that are affected right now.
Congressman Bacon, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and Republicans, we push back on the thought of someone earning $600,000 getting all these tax credits. So when I listened to the speaker or Leader Thune, that was one of his big concerns on these. So that's why I wanted to ensure that we had this in our framework.
But a tweak with a not permanent, just a 2-year extension. Republicans haven't really been proposing a lot of alternative Obamacare options here. Do you think the entire system needs to be rebooted, and when will we see that plan?
Well, I do think Republicans and Democrats are going to have to sit down at the table and figure out what can we really do besides just throw more money at this. Right now, the premiums are just going up so much faster than inflation. It's unsustainable. But we can't do a Republican-only fix. It's not going to work. You're not going to get 60 votes in the Senate to do it. And I know certainly some folks proposed that back in Congress. Let's go up with our plan. Well, it can't just be a Republican plan if we want to pass something. So we got to sit down with Democrats and figure out what can we do. And there's some good ideas out there. So, for example, I've heard, if we can directly subsidize high-risk people and put them in a separate pool and just lower their premiums through subsidies, and then I would call it the healthier folks, their premiums are going to go down significantly if we do that. So there's different concepts that we can do that can have an impact. But it's going to have to be a bipartisan way forward. It's not going to be a Republican-only bill because you'll never get it passed.
But it's also a dangerous thing to put in a temporary extension that lasts for 2 years, because they can just keep doing this extension, and never fix the issue of why these premiums are going to skyrocket when you take away these Obamacare tax credits, these Affordable Care Act credits. That's like one of the worst things you can do in politics that we see goes on, where they utilize this extension philosophy to never really make changes. Oh, we need to do a study, we need to do a budget review, we need to do a scientific study, we need a board of people set up on this so they can review what exactly is good, and then all of a sudden it's 3 years down the line and nothing's been changed. But it is concerning just how much the premiums are about to go up. But at the same time, we need some solution figured out, not just some temporary extension, because in government, that seems to never end.
Congressman Swazi, Aetna pulled out of the Obamacare marketplace this year after CVS said they expected to lose as much as $400 million. Other big insurance companies have been pulling out. If insurance companies themselves are having problems with Obamacare, do Democrats need to be more open to broader reforms of the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah, we absolutely should be looking at any kind of reform. I want to mend it, not end it. You know that over the past decade that there have been over 70 attempts, mainly by the Republicans, not guys like Don Bacon, who's a very reasonable guy, to try and get rid of Obamacare altogether. We think that's a terrible idea. But if people want to try and make it a better system to make health care more affordable in America and to get health care to more people, we should be doing that. That's what the people want. That's what reasonable people in Congress want. We should be working together to try and expand health care coverage, lower prices for everybody, and make health care more effective and less expensive for people. Now, that's not going to happen with everybody yelling and screaming at each other. Everybody who says, why don't you just, doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. You cannot solve complicated problems in an environment of fear and anger. You need reasonable people to sit down and talk to each other and say, I think this, well, I think that, and then work your way towards finding compromise. Very hard to do in this toxic environment. People like Don Bacon and other members of the Problem Solvers Caucus want to do that type of thing.
I hate to say it, but that Democrat guy is one of the more reasonable guys we've heard in a long time, because yes, you do have to take a stand when the Democrats want to pass ridiculous things. It's true. You also need to be able to get some things done, or else you have these stagnations, you have these extensions, and nothing really ever changes. And, if people voted in certain Democrats, you kind of have to work with them to get something passed. They represent a large portion of people. Now, if you don't need those votes, then you don't have to work with them. Pass whatever you want to pass. But if you do need some of their votes, You got to find some middle common ground, or else nothing passes, nothing changes, and every temporary extension continues.
Yeah, well, but private healthcare costs are also going up. But on this topic of toxic environments here, Congressman Swazi, Democrats who won elections just a few days ago credited their wins to this affordability issue and the message focused on that. Can you explain the focus this past week in the House by Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files? Is this a tactic to distract from the failure to extract healthcare changes, or is there something else going on here? I mean, does the Speaker putting it to a vote end this issue?
I think it's a combination of factors of people shining their lights on the hot topic at the time. Jeffrey Epstein, of course, is an important topic. I'm sure I'll vote to release his files, but that's not my priority. My priority is to focus on the things that the American people care about: affordability, immigration, taxes, crime, and health care. That's what people are fighting about. That's what they're concerned about. That's what we should be focused on in Congress.
Well, Congressman Bacon, does the Speaker putting this to a vote end the Epstein issue and get you back onto health care? I mean, the Speaker said this is all a political exercise. Certainly the families of the victims don't think it is.
I think the Speaker realizes the train has left the station on this. Let's rip the Band-Aid off and get it done. And I wish the President realized that. The more the White House pushes back on this, it just looks bad, right? I mean, it was the Attorney General came out and said all these white binders, we're going to release all this information, and then a month later said, oh, no, we're not. So it's been a PR blunder from the beginning. And I think the Speaker's right. This is going to happen, so let's get it done and vote on it. And we got to realize it still has to go to the Senate. Then it has to go to the President for signature. Meanwhile, our Oversight Committee is releasing thousands and thousands of pages of evidence concerning Epstein. So, for example, like 30,000 pages was released late last week. Mm-hmm. So the Oversight Committee, Republicans and Democrats, are putting out the data. They're putting out subpoenas. I think it's already working. But like Tom, when this comes on the floor, I'm going to vote yes on it. I want transparency. We want to protect the victims, but everything else should be open.
Margaret Brennan found two reasonable guys to have on her show. Makes sense what they're saying. And if any of you are mad at these guys for talking against Trump, going against Trump with this Epstein file thing, please explain yourself down in the comments, please. I want to understand why someone thinks Trump is in the right on this Epstein files thing, if that's what you think. I don't know how many of there are you. I've heard some backlash before. A lot of you guys, I'm sure, see the logic in the pressures Trump is getting from this Epstein file thing and the logical deduction you can come up with as to why he's pushed back so hard. And I'm sure a lot of you can be honest to recognize that it's not right the way Trump is pushing back on this. But for those of you who don't like these guys, who are saying, yes, we're going to vote against what the president wants to get these Epstein files released, please let me know what your stance is in the comments and why. It's Sean Daniel here. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to continue the Sunday marathon, check out this interview with the U.S. Secretary of the Army with Margaret Brennan. Give us some insight into the enlisting numbers, the state of the military, and I'm sure how Margaret Brennan's going to push back on something. See you there.